Iriks, the Acting Principal Education Compliance Officer for the Department of Health's Tobacco Control Branch.
Thank you. Is this work? Good morning. Thanks to Clubs WA for inviting me along. As my title's not quite that long, I'm a Senior Compliance Officer for the Tobacco Control Branch. There's only 5 members in the branch in Western Australia. Predominantly what we do is we're tasked with the compliance of anybody who holds a tobacco licence or illegal cigarettes or the illegal sale of legal cigarettes, if that makes sense. So we got nothing to do with illegal cigarettes. Pretty much on a daily basis, we between the guys in the section, we just go around to all the licensed premises in Western Australia. That's people who hold tobacco licences, and as you know, a lot of clubs do and a lot of clubs don't. Although we would attend most clubs regardless of whether they sell liquor or not, because we actually deal with the smoking and outdoor eating areas. So I've just got a small presentation in regards to those issues, and one about smoking electronic cigarettes. So I'll just go through it. The definition of an enclosed public place, we seem to have a lot of people, clubs and shops and restaurants who are not quite understanding the definition of an enclosed public place. You know, we go there and there's people smoking and we go, well, you know, we look around and we go, well, you can't smoke in here because it's enclosed. So it's very important, and these are the 2 very, very basic rules. That a public place is an enclosed public place if it has a ceiling or a roof. Now, we go on the premise that if you stand underneath it when it's pelting down rain and you not getting wet, it's a roof. I mean, so if it's shade cloth and you're getting wet or you're getting dripped on, and that doesn't mean you've got to have a hole in the roof, then it's not a roof. So then the other thing is the walls must be greater than 50% enclosed. So, and then being enclosed, it means vertical structures, blinds, these sorts of roll down shutters. They include a wall, doesn't matter what they're made of. So here's an example of a veranda of a hotel. Now this particular hotel put this extension at great cost on the outside of their hotel, so that all the people who wanted to smoke can go outside and smoke. As the area is, it's perfect. It has a roof, it's not a problem, but the walls are less than 50%. But about a month after they built that, they decided to put these shutters all the way around it, these blinds, which basically made it an enclosed public place, and they're not allowed to smoke in there anymore. So now they have to go back and stand outside where they were originally. So you've got to be mindful, and that's 50%. So in their particular case, their roller shutters made their outdoor eating area more than 50%, and therefore it's an enclosed public place. They can't smoke there.
Excuse me, what if the blinds are up?
Doesn't matter. Okay, so a lot of people say, oh, we'll roll the blinds up. It doesn't matter whether they're up or down. If they're there, the only way that they would change that is they would have to take them off. And of course, that particular venue didn't want to take them off because it cost $40,000 to put them on. So pretty much their smokers now have to stand outside under some umbrellas. So, but that's their choice. Okay, so smoking in an outdoor public places. Okay, so now we go on to outdoor public places, places that aren't enclosed, so back verandas and stuff like that. We have a lot of issues with some clubs in regards to their understanding of where people can smoke and can't smoke. Okay, so if they have an outdoor eating area like a veranda where people are allowed to smoke, okay, if it doesn't conform with the roof and the walls and it's an outdoor eating area, okay, the person, they're allowed to smoke there, but only in certain areas. Okay, so a person must not smoke in an outdoor eating area unless the person is smoking in a smoking zone. Now, a smoking zone only applies to premises that hold a liquor licence. So you can't just sit outside a McDonald's restaurant or anywhere or any place where, you know, a coffee shop and smoke. That's illegal anywhere in WA. The only time you're allowed to smoke in an outdoor eating area is in a smoking zone. And so a smoking zone has to be in a liquor licence. All clubs that have a liquor licence all have a smoking zone. An outdoor public place, okay, so the occupier is not aware of the offence. Okay, so it pretty much goes on. A lot of places we go to, people are smoking in areas where they shouldn't be. The only defence in this act, or in our act, is that the occupier's got to know that they're committing an offence, because they're the ones that get the ticket. So if we have a complaint, what we do is we'll go and sit somewhere and we'll watch. Now, if a bar staff walks out and clears glasses off a table where a person's smoking, right, and then walks back inside and doesn't say anything, as far as we're concerned, they are aware of it. So the owner of the club or the organisation, who may live in, may work in an office in Sydney, okay, his bar staff are aware that people are smoking, so therefore he gets the ticket if someone's smoking in his bar or in his club. So you've got to be mindful that that's something you need to explain to your staff and train staff. We're pretty easy on it. We don't normally walk in and just write out tickets straight away. But we do make sure that people are aware of it first. We educate people all the time in regards to it, but there are people that are getting infringement notices for it. There's a police officer in a West Australia country town who, every time he walks into the local pub, he writes out a ticket, one for the person sitting in the bar smoking in a non-smoking area and one for the owner. So far he's issued 8 infringement notices to the owner of the pub. You think he'd do something about it, but he apparently doesn't. So, what is an outdoor eating area? Okay, an outdoor eating area means a place or a part of a place that is provided on a commercial basis where people are sitting at a table, okay, eating food or drink. Drink could be water. So if you have a table and chair outside of a tavern or a pub, if people can sit there and eat and drink, then obviously that's an outdoor eating area. So if you don't have a liquor licence, obviously you can't smoke there. They use the word commercial basis simply because if you have a picnic bench in the middle of a park somewhere, that's a table and chair where you can sit and eat and drink, okay, it doesn't apply because that's not provided on a commercial basis. So it's got to be outside some form of a business. Okay, a smoking zone is a place at a liquor licence premises that is, okay, so you can't have a smoking zone if you have a restaurant licence. I don't think there are any clubs that would have a restaurant licence, so it doesn't really apply here. But if you only have a restaurant licence, you can't have a smoking zone. The important things are the smoking zone can only be up to 50% of your outdoor eating area. Okay, so a lot of places we go to, people will be able to smoke at that table and smoke at that table and smoke over there, but not there, there and there. It doesn't work that way. The smoking zone has to be a set smoking area. It's got to be clearly delineated between your non-smoking and your smoking section, and the non-smoking section must be clearly identifiable. I would say maybe 8 out of every 10 premises we go to, that's not the case. Where we walk in and I'll go, right, okay, there's ashtrays on this table so people can obviously smoke here, but there's no smoking signs. So we provide no smoking signs. If anybody has a club that has no smoking signs, no smoking signs, we're quite happy to provide them. We've got millions of them. We send them out all over the state. I've got a boot full of them in my car. We provide them, so there is no excuses for not having them, but there is a penalty associated with not having them. Designated smoking zones, okay, the occupier may set aside 50%. Okay, the smoking and non-smoking areas must be clearly delineated, so you can't mix them in between each other. Now, at the moment, clearly delineated means that. Your interpretation of clearly delineated. We've got a number of amendments going through the Act if government ever decide to look at them, and one of them is they actually want to set a distance so that there will be a set distance between a smoking zone and a non-smoking zone. We get complaints all the time where people are sitting in a non-smoking zone and the people at the smoking zone are literally back to back. And as I say to people, what's the point? That bloke smoking, the people on here are choking to death on it, and so there's no real clear delineation. So that will change. Sorry? So long as it's not enclosed. It can have a roof, but it can't be enclosed, so it can't have those walls around it. So if you've got a veranda on the back of your bowling club, got a big veranda that's not enclosed, then 50% of that can be smoking. Tables and chairs, yep. But you only can smoke in that 50% that is your smoking zone. Okay, and the other thing was electronic cigarettes. Now, electronic cigarettes have become, in the last 3 or 4 years, they've just appeared. You know, no one knew about them 3 or 4 years ago, and all of a sudden they're around. Okay, I've bought a few. Electronic cigarettes started like this. They look like a normal cigarette, which I didn't think was very smart of the people. But anyway, it looked like that. You puff on it, the end glows, and we have a section under the Tobacco Products Control Act, Section 106, which prohibits anybody from selling a tobacco or a product that resembles a tobacco product. And we all remember the old fags? So we got little lollies like this, bubble gums that look like packets of cigarettes and those sorts of things. So 106 prohibited the sale of these. So you're not allowed to sell anything in WA that looks like a cigarette, regardless of what it is. And here's my favourite. Okay, this is a drink. It's alcohol. I'll drink it one day, but it's because it's shaped like a cigar. Okay, they're not allowed to sell them. So there was bottle shops selling these all over WA until I walked in and went, oh, that's a nice cigar, and it's not a cigar, but it's against the law under Section 106. So 106 was designed mainly for that. So, kids wouldn't puff on that, or they wouldn't walk around puffing on little cigarette lollies. And as a result of that, there was a couple of people in WA charged, and they took it to court, and the actual cigarette that they were selling was like something like that. It was an e-cigarette, and they said it didn't look like a cigarette. So the magistrate threw it out and said, yeah, no, it doesn't look like a cigarette. So they threw it out. Health Department took it to the Supreme Court, District Court, and appealed that decision, and it was overturned, and the judge said, yes, it resembles a cigarette simply because you stick it in your mouth, you hold it between your fingers, and everything you do that's regarding smoking is the same as an e-cigarette. So they appealed that, and of course we won again. So it's now against the law in WA to sell e-cigarettes. And at this stage, that is the only thing that is against the law in WA. So an e-cigarette is not a tobacco product. So an e-cigarette can be smoked anywhere. So if someone wanted to sit in here and smoke an e-cigarette, they're not breaking the law, even though it's an enclosed public place, because it's not a tobacco product. Okay, it's under 106. It resembles a tobacco product, so it can't be sold, right? But it cannot be. You can't stop people. So you could sit in a picture theatre and smoke an e-cigarette legally, right? So what the health department are doing, and I've got a whole heap of handouts here. If you want to collect them on your at the end, but it's all about electronic cigarettes, and it goes on about electronic cigarettes in public places. You have the right to put up signs saying no smoking, including electronic cigarettes. Okay, there are a couple around in Perth where people have already put signs up. I think outside the Telstra building in the city, there's a big sign out saying no smoking in the foyer, including electronic cigarettes. Sorry?
How legal is
that? It's your premises. You can do whatever you like. House rules. It's the same as no parking on the veranda, or whatever you don't want people to do, they have to abide by it. Okay, so it's up to you at this stage. There are other states that state that you can't smoke electronic cigarettes where you can't smoke cigarettes, but that's not the law in WA. We're trying to get that changed so that it becomes very, very consistent. So, I mean, just recently, or more than 6 weeks ago, because I've just come back from America, but about 6-7 weeks ago, I was walking through a shopping mall, and there was a coffee shop, and I could see this bloke stop smoking and cigarette, and I was just about ready to stop and have a chat to him, and I looked, and I realised it was an electronic cigarette, so I sort of kept walking because there's nothing you can do about it. So it is a bit silly, but unfortunately electronic cigarettes, as I said, were brand new, only existed 4 years ago in Australia. There are other states that are changing laws. There's other states that have already changed legislation, so you can't smoke them in other places. We're heading down that track. So, but as a club, as an organisation, you have all the right in the world to put up signs saying no electronic cigarettes in your. So, I mean, technically, right now, you can have all your people smoking in no smoking zone, or in your smoking area, and someone sitting over there smoking an e-cigarette in the non-smoking area. And that's so. So a lot of people get a little bit confused with it and think, oh no, well you can't smoke that there, go and smoke over there. So, but that's not the case. Okay, so any questions? Sir.
Robert Weir, Marvin Angling Club. I'll ask one. I've got a pretty big balcony out here, and we're a lot of our members are still smokers. We're getting rid of them. We've had quite a few waits. Oh, do you need that from me? Okay, I'll do it.
Yes. We do have meals on certain days when the Fremantle doctor lets us sit out there because he blows everything off the rest of the balcony. But we do get complaints of passive smoking because 1 minute it's coming from the north, next minute it's coming from the south. And it's an issue that one day I'm certain I'll be, because they look after me now, that I'll have a claim on me. It's something we as a club haven't stopped, nothing inside, but out in the balcony we've got limited areas. But you can be sitting next to it and just drifts past you, and the complaints we get in the club from saying, just ruined my meal, etc. And one day we've got to turn around and say the majority will rule, but it does concern me, will I get a passive claim? Okay,
a smoking zone, right, is up to you. The Act says you cannot have more than 50% of an area. Now, so if you had your whole balcony and all along that, it has to be tables and chairs. So it can't be an area where the people just stand because that's not a smoking zone. But if you had tables and chairs all along your balcony, the law says you can have 50%. But you can have 40, 20, 10, 5%, or a tiny little corner, or no percent. Okay, that is up to you. There are a number of hotels in Perth that are 100% non-smoking. They don't have smoking zones. And I say to them, where do people smoke? They go in the car park. I said, what if it's raining? Tough. And that's their attitude. So there are a lot of pubs that are doing that, a lot of big hotels that are just saying, if you want to smoke, go stand in the car park. We don't have a smoking zone. So it's up to you, and that's the law. The law says that you can have 0% smoking or 5%. You can have a table in the corner over there, and that's where people, if they want to sit out and eat and smoke, well, there's a door there.
I reckon if a passive claim came through, you'll lose. If my solicitor says I was in that 5% down the road, the wind blew, the smoke blew on me, just because you put a piece of paper that said it's 10 feet between the two sections, I bet you'll lose.
Well, okay.
I'm just making a comment because I think it's going to hit us.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I mean, the ideal situation, and I'm don't get me wrong, I'm not an anti-smoking person because mine's compliance, so I don't really care who smokes or who doesn't. However, if it was me, I wouldn't let anyone smoke. So that's your problem solved. If people want to smoke, go smoke in a car park. So if you have constant complaints, that's what I'd be doing. Sorry, just go to the gentleman at the back. Just after they bring in the law that you can't drink in pubs. Cigarettes and alcohol, we all know that they're never going to go away. I mean, yes, we have one of the best cessations of smoking anywhere in the world, in Australia. We do. The stats are actually through the roof. They're great. But, you know, we've got plain packaging. Plain packaging was invented in Australia. You know, we all know this is illegal, but this is mine. We all know that, I mean, just possessing a packet of cigarettes like this is against the law. So you can't sell them like this. Australia leading the way by making a real dull and boring packages, but there are other countries now that have just introduced it, and, you know, it'll go through the world where, you know, that'll end up being the case. So as far as, you know, your scenario, more and more people are having their smoking zones way less than 50%. The law says up to 50%, but more and more are just making it way less. So there's just a little corner somewhere, or nothing at all.
So if we have a balcony out here and we have a smoking zone which is sort of fenced off, does that mean the rest of the balcony has to have a no smoking signs on it?
Yes, and the rest of the balcony that is no smoking must have tables and chairs as well. So
But what about if there's no tables and chairs in the smoking zone, if it's a stand-up area?
well, then it's not a smoking zone.
It's not a smoking
No, no, people can stand on the balcony and smoke because it's outside. That's not a problem, right? A smoking zone only applies to an area where people sit at tables and eat and drink.
Okay, the other question I have then is downstairs we have a bar, we have the beach out there. Can people smoke on the beach
Yep.
these days?
Actually, it's against the law to smoke on a beach between the flags on a patrolled beach.
Right.
Right, so if you and I don't know whether you have. So if you have lifeguards here, so if you have lifeguards here and they set up flags either side, then it's against the law to smoke on the beach. Okay, it's a $300 fine. Okay, Cottesloe, believe it or not, Cottesloe lifesavers are all authorised to actually write out the ticket for that offence, but no one's done it yet. Simply because it's a bit hard to identify the person. But it is against the law. Sorry, sir.
You've been talking about licensed premises, but what puzzles me, what about coffee shops? Because quite often you see people sitting outside having a cup of coffee and smoke.
Well, if you see that, let me know, because that's against the law. You are not allowed to smoke in a coffee shop or any outdoor eating area in Western Australia unless that premises holds a liquor licence. So a bar, club, or a full pub, tavern licence. Okay, so not even including a restaurant licence. So yeah, we get complaints like that all the time, and as I said, we'll go and sit there sometimes for an hour and have a coffee. It's really boring. And we'll just watch. And as I said, if someone comes out and someone will clear the table and that person's still smoking and they don't say anything about it, as far as we're concerned, the owner knows because their staff member don't do anything about it. That's their problem. We'll go in and write them an infringement notice. So for allowing it. Okay. I do have a couple of forms on the table underneath the screen. So one's about outdoor eating areas. The other one's about this is brand new. It's actually this is produced in the last 3 weeks while I was on holidays. I read it this morning for the first time. And there's a book there about enclosed public places. So feel free to grab one if you have any. I'll be here for a while if anyone has any more questions.